Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we are joined by Skyhook, who is the chief game designer on the hit Mobile Legends Bang Bang by Moonton. Welcome, Skyhook. So,
Hi.
so it's really great to have an opportunity to speak to someone like you directly. But I had a number of questions about MOBAs and about Mobile Legends Bang Bang in particular. And kind of like the first question I wanted to ask you is really around game taxonomy and classification. So in the game industry, there's this big debate about how do we classify a MOBA game? Is it an action genre game or is it a strategy game? And in your opinion, what do you think?
Okay, that's a good question because action, genre, and the strategy are the most important part of the mobile game. In my opinion, they are same. They're also very important. But I have to say the reason make people think maybe action part is more important is because action game are easy to give player enjoyment of challenge. For
Right.
example, like Sekiro and Dark Souls, they are very good, challenging action game. When player overcome the challenge, they have a great sense of achievement.
Right.
In mobile game, the player use the skill to hit the enemy, which is a kind of shooting feedback. So keep receiving this feedback is very strong reason to make players stay in early game. For loyal mobile game players, so strategy is another very important part because some people say MOBA looks like an action RPG game, but actually it's more like an RTS game. So I strongly agree with it. In each battle, choose different strategies, provide game depth of the mobile game. When you decide to dive hard in team fight or sprite push line to get a victory, this experience are exciting. So in my opinion, action genre is like a net makeup. So strategy is inside of the mobile game.
Right. And it's kind of interesting because MOBAs kind of spawned from an RTS, right? Like as a mod to Warcraft 3 in terms of Dota. And when you think about the differences between a MOBA and an RTS from a design perspective, how do you think about the differences in terms of design or from a player perspective? What do you think?
The first well-known mobile game is Dota, and it was born in the War 3 game mode editor.
Mhm.
So you can say MOBA is a kind of action RTS game,
Yeah.
but they do have a lot of difference. Firstly, is the difficulty of the operation. So RTS is very classic game type, but it also have very hardcore gameplay. So like what I said in the last question, overcome the challenge, you will have a great sense of achievement. But if the challenge is too hard, it is a terrible experience. Mobile game reduce the difficulty of the RTS operation. That is the key point to getting a large of number of players. So the second one is role play. In the RTS game, you need to control a whole army to fight. But in mobile game, you only have one hero. That means you will focus on the hero, also the background story and the skill design. For example, in the Mobile Legends, you can be a tank hero taking damage, or to be a marksman and destroy the all enemies. So player can enjoy the role playing more. And the last one is is multiplayer. Yeah, RTS is more like a single player fight, but in mobile game, teamwork is very important. The human are social animals, so a multiple player games can be a social platform.
Right. And during the early days of mobile, there were a lot of failed MOBAs. So Fates Forever from the Discord guys, Solstice Arena from Zynga, Vainglory from Super Evil Megacorp. And yet these were companies that were, had super smart people. They were very well capitalized, and yet they weren't able to quite achieve the success that Moonton was able to achieve with Mobile Legends. And so when you think back about how you were able to achieve success with Mobile Legends, what do you think the difference was? How was Moonton able to be successful with a MOBA?
Okay, so like they always said, easy to learn, hard to be mastered. It's very basic principle of game design. So when we design Mobile Legends on the mobile platform, we focus on how to let more and more people to get enjoyment of mobile gameplay. because our whole team believe the MOBA is very, very enjoying gameplay type. So we try to reduce difficulty of the PC MOBA operation while playing the same game fine as possible. Like what we said in our slogan, everyone can be a legend. So we focus on the how to make the more and more people to join our game and have fun. Yeah, I think this is the most key point for us. Yeah.
Okay. And so just for our audience, so they understand, it kind of sounds like what you're saying, just to confirm, is that in terms of the focus, that maybe one of the big differentiators was the team's focus on the gameplay, the simplification of the controls, and just the feel and the gameplay itself. Is that, would that be fair to say?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So one last question for you, Skyhook, which is really around, achieving a success in mobile gaming is difficult for anybody. But just kind of thinking back to the history of Mobile Legends, I was wondering if you could talk about, from your perspective, what was the hardest challenge to overcome to achieve success, whether it's from an operations or design perspective, whatever perspective you want to discuss. What was that hardest challenge?
Okay, firstly, I want to talk about design part because,
Okay.
like what I said in the last question, we focus on how to make everyone can play a mobile game on the mobile. Yeah, so how to make the difficulty of the operation is very big problem for us. So about gameplay, we remove the last hit, and we lock the screen. We do those things. Maybe we design many simple hero for the new mobile player to make the every new player can join the Mobile Legends can have a lot of fun, but no very difficulty of the operation. This is very difficult, and also is the most important part to make us success.
Got
And
it.
also we have a lot of others challenge like internet server because in the very early time, people who are in Indonesia or Philippines, they always report problem of internet. Yes,
Right.
we place many servers in the global. So our internet group is very work hard every day to help them
Right.
reduce internet problem. Yeah, we got a lot of challenge. Yes,
I see. All right. So thank you very much for your time. I won't take up any more of your time with additional questions, although I have a lot. Very great to get your insights, Skyhook. Thank you very much.
thank you.